Will Bradley be activated by the deadline in the morning?
No. The with the deadline being tomorrow, um, we 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 won't activate him. So the it and it came down to this. He um, trying to get trying to take away reps from guys that are playing well. Bradley takes that serious, and he's gone after the whole process. Um, so that he can be Bradley Chubb for this football team, and he knows what that looks like. And he's been very patient in the process, very open minded. Had growth as the process went, but ultimately, uh, you know, it it we all decided that we didn't think he would be able to be the player that he expects, that we all expect. It just needed a little bit more time that unfortunately the season couldn't offer us. So, he's still all in it, and he was disappointed, but is also understands the big picture at stake, and is going to make sure that when he's on the field for the Dolphins, that everyone feels the player that he knows he is.
What about Kendall Fuller? Yesterday, you said you needed to see today how today went.
I didn't know you were listening. He it's kind of a week to week thing. It doesn't look like he'll be able to play this game, but keeping an open mind for the following.
Coach, as the regular season winds down, how do you keep the team focused as you face a team that's looking to play the Grinch role and have a player such as with the youngest NFL player who has 100 sacks in NFL history?
I knew that. It this team, what they've really gone through and fought for. It's not a difficult task. Seeing how we have to us a 1 game season, and our chances at the playoffs are at stake, and that has been a driving force. Really, is for our locker room, and our coaching staff. Really wants to play the type of football that we felt like we fell short of at portions of the season. I thought, that formula, just looking at what today offers, what we're preparing for, and immersing yourself in the Browns. I think that's what we did last week with the 49ers. And, as a result, guys were ultimately very prepared to play the type of football that they expect to play. And those results were earned, not given. And I think that's the biggest thing is we have a standard with which we want to play football together. There's a lot of guys that really care about each other. Everybody in the NFL knows that, in the current orchestration of the salary cap, that teams are always different from year to year, and a lot of guys get to experience continuity, whatever that word I'm trying to say is. But then things change. So the relationships, the months of work, you don't. Nobody on this team wants to leave the whole process unfinished. So for us to make right by some of the lessons of the season, we have no choice but to put our best foot forward, and that starts with today's preparation and practice, and moves on to the rest of the week. So my expectation is that we have nothing short of preparation and tonality that was similar to last game, if not more, as we continue to build upon some of the successes that we've had. interphase and put together a complete team win.
What role did the uncertainty about the postseason play in the decision to not activate Chubb? Like, if you guys had already clinched a spot, would you be more open to it, or I'm just
No, I was very, it was very cut and dry that, I don't feel comfortable ever throwing a towel in. These are people's football dreams, and I just know the finality that is everybody's career and how important each and every game needs to be and should be. So I wouldn't have really felt right about trying to hedge any sort of bet because I think our mindset is to control the controllables, and we aren't eliminated. So we're trying to make sure that we take advantage of that opportunity. And, I think it wasn't really a factor in play. It was, Bradley Chubb wants to play football. Can he to his standard? Let's see. He's not ready to coach yet, and he doesn't want to be on the sideline. So, I think it took that very serious, and that the course of the season didn't really play into it.
Was there any sort of setback after he was activated? Because activating somebody off or designating to return, I'm assuming the team thought that he could make it back in that 21-day window. Did something happen that?
No, it wasn't that. You don't have a crystal ball, and the only way that you can, within the orchestration of the rules of even see to evaluate if you can play football, the only way you can play football is you have to, he has to have that window, and didn't, was very careful not to assess expectations to it because, like we've talked about before, it was a big time injury that took a absolute calendar year of strain and work to just get into that position. And I don't think it's the process, although we're not seeing them this year. It was very beneficial to be able to work through that. Now you're not waiting an off season with what's it going to be like, or do I still, he knows where he's at right now and knows that he just has a little longer to build to get to where he, to his standard of play and standard of execution. So, I think that it was a little unknown, to be quite honest, when he started, just because you don't know unless you try, and it wasn't a failure or a setback. It was just the nature of the injury, and his body, how his body's responded, and it was every day getting better. We just hoped it would go a little further than it did.
Reviewing the film, did you have a Chubb follow?
It's okay.
Upon reviewing the film, what was your evaluation of Isaiah Wynn's snaps, and could he be ready for a full-time role back at right guard?
I thought I was very, very proud, happy for Isaiah. That's another guy that's he's worked relentlessly for that opportunity. I thought both he and Liam did a phenomenal job in the rotation process. I thought that helped him execute at a level that I think he was proud of, and we were very proud of. And I also think it helped Liam's game. So, I think they're both very important contributors to our offense, and I think their ability to execute against the matchups this week, will kind of dictate how we go about it. But overall, I thought I was fired up that I thought the rotation served the offense and them individually very well.
A quick
follow up on that. You mentioned that it seemed to help them each. I guess was it like an iron sharpens iron type situation? Like how specifically did it help them?
Well, because first of all, Liam's been battling through things all season, so to be able to be a little fresher at the point of attack was beneficial. I think it's been a minute since Isaiah's played football, so being able to go out on 2 consecutive drives and then kind of absorb what's going on in the game and have a little extra time to focus on the technique and fundamentals, and then overall I think especially given the opponent, where their defensive techniques, they're one of the most subbed defensive lines because of their launch technique and how they're pass rushing every play, and that's a difficult thing to keep up with these fresh line changes. So I think that kind of gave them a competitive advantage, as well as the natural inherent competitors that they are. Like it keeps your competitive urge going on top of all the other reasons, because you're trying to make right of your opportunities, knowing that you have another starting lineman that's going to come in and have similar opportunities. So I think all of the things played a part that I thought overall we got very good play from our right guard spot from the whole game, and that that has to do with how they attacked all of that.
Will that rotation be in play on Sunday?
I mean, what's Sunday? We got Tuesday. It's Christmas Eve. I have no presents from anyone in here. That's okay. And but we have a practice in front of us, and we'll see how that goes, and then we'll progress with the week. And who knows? We might play Isaiah Wynn at X receiver. You just never know.
Mike, to borrow a phrase from your friend Eric Spoelstra, I know this is not an indictment of Jalen Wright, but could you take us inside the decision to weave in Raheem more and to use Jeff Wilson in short yardage? Is it just trusting guys who have been productive for you for years? What went into each decision, Raheem and Jeff Wilson?
You're trying to stay connected with your locker room, and beyond that, the individuals and just the way they're practicing, the natural competitive spirit that's brought out by playing a team that with a lot of guys that were former teammates of yours. It definitely Jalen's ready to contribute, and we have a lot of really high caliber running backs on this team, and for that game, it made the most sense with the ammunition that we had to facilitate it that way. I kind of going into the game, we had him active for a reason, but I did know that I wanted to give those guys an opportunity and see what they did with it, and they seized the moment. I thought Raheem played very well, was hard to tackle, and I thought Jeff did a phenomenal job when given the opportunity. And then, on top of that, Devon, had one of his best games since he's been here. So, matter of circumstance, he's well aware it's not if but when, and any given week it could be his opportunity. So he has to be prepared.
Follow just on that with Jeff. We know how tough he is. Had you been tempted before Sunday this year to use him in short yardage? I know the roster decisions with special teams, but was that something that was tempting you before Sunday to use him, keep him active, use him in short yardage?
Yeah, and there's also things that my history with Jeff. There's certain types of concepts that that I know he has a a really, really good feel for, specifically in short yardage situations. We've done that in the past. We've done that last year. This year, based upon this game, based upon his practice, what he'd done in the game the week previous. He got 2 carries, so had a ton of confidence to put him in those moments. You're always weighing the momentum of the game. You're in short yardage. You are handing the ball to somebody, and you have to have reasons to hand a player that hasn't, is out of routine. You have to be very compelled to put them in there and say, hey, I know you haven't been in, but the whole drive and points hinge on you getting this yard. Here you go. And so I think Jeff's built for that. I think he executed in a phenomenal fashion and gave us more reason to incorporate him in different ways this week. The only week that exists,
You spent 1 year in Cleveland. I feel like it may have been a formative one for you in your coaching career. But what did you learn there? And also, if you have any stories of being on the same staff as Weave for the first time.
So it was, you always learn a ton as a coach when you're a part of the year one with the staff. So a head coach's first year, just because there's nothing can be assumed, and you have to have reasons of why you do everything from scheduling to how you do practice and all that. And so with regard to that bare minimum, that's very beneficial for me personally. It was I'd been a receiver coach for 1 year, in a place that I kind of grew into that position in Washington. So, going there as a receiver coach, that was a big deal. I got some added run game planning responsibilities that year, so that was a big deal for me too. And then I had no idea about Cleveland, just the city in general, and although I was only there for 1 year, it was really cool. I love the city. The people there are phenomenal. And you want to talk about people that appreciate a 65-degree day in the springtime. In April, 65 hits, and everyone's treating it like it's 95. And I think you also learned a lot about their fan base. Very, very committed, cool fan base. It's a cool stadium to play at, and Weave was awesome. They under Coach Pett, they were running a facilitation of that Rex Ryan defense, so practice was absolutely miserable. I think the first run play we ran it into a corner blitz, and it was wild. But I think that you're always trying to gain stuff from each and every year. That year in particular, I learned an absolute ton. Was around really good people, had a cool receiver room to work with, and we had some successes, and that was cool to be a part of.
Mike, going back to Bradley, but not about Bradley. When talking about him, you said you didn't want to take reps away from guys who were playing well. One of them, I assume, is Chop Robinson. Did you expect him to be able to make this kind of impact when you guys drafted him back in April?
Yeah, I think led by Chris. Chris had a ton of conviction. I felt the same. You don't know that what the first year is going to look like. We felt very confident that he was going to be the type of player that could be an impact player at a position, specifically rushing the passer when everybody knows that what rush you have and you're trying to go for the quarterback. So to be able to execute in the big moments, pass rushers have to not be ready on necessarily on 2nd and 7 in the second quarter. They're really, all eyes are on you, and the last drive or the second to last drive, when everybody knows it's pass. And so you're hopeful, that he has the capability from a skill set and as a person. But, rookie years are always unique just because it's uncharted territory, playing football for that long for these guys. So what's been memorable about his year is that you talk about the anti-rookie wall. He really started impacting the game the more and more he learned, and I think that speaks to his daily diligence and his love for football, because even some of the best competitors can fizzle out during the month of December just because they've played for 8 more weeks than they've ever played football before. So I think he's been what we expected. However, there's parts of his game readiness and his ability to compete against vested veterans left and right that we're hopeful for, but he's matched or maybe exceeded some of those expectations in that way.
Quick follow-up to, did his level of play have much impact on any decision with Bradley? Like if Chop maybe wasn't playing as well as he is, would there be maybe more urgency to get
No,
him?
that's fair, and it's fair to ask about, just like the season, just like, I'm made no decision was made based upon anything but Bradley. Again, bringing it back to, remember, this is his career, and don't take that lightly. And so he's worked very, very hard, and so we made that decision independent of where we're at in the season or where we're at with the roster.
Appreciate it. Yours.